All right, guys. So what does it take from us team members to write life insurance, write supplemental health insurance consistently at a high level? As team members in the multi-line space, meaning we write more than one line of insurance for our customers or can, it's clear and it's obvious that there is a lot that will require our time and attention throughout the day, especially if you have a seat in the office. You come to work in the office every day. It's inevitable. You are going to have customers interrupt you throughout the day, whether they're walking into the office, needing your help, or calling you. And being in the multi-line space, most team members are dealing with service, all while trying to figure out how to sell, right? And be consistent with their production. And so there's a lot that requires our time and attention as team members, guys. So it's important to be very intentional with what you do throughout the day. If we look at two team members, right? One that's very consistent, writing policies at a high level versus one that's very average, if not below average. What is it that separates them, right? What sets them apart? What is the team member that's crushing it doing differently than the team member that's just average, if that? Because guys, we all have the same 8 hours in the day. And so it's clear that the team member that's crushing it is thinking differently, number one, but also doing things differently than the team member that's just average. So what exactly does this team member that's crushing it do? How does he or she think throughout the day? I want to share what I feel like the silver bullet to selling life insurance, to selling disability insurance, to selling really any line of insurance for that matter, consistently at a high level. I want to share what I feel like the silver bullet is. Before we get into that, I've had experience and the opportunity to coach different agencies, right? The agent and the team members, to help them figure out what they needed to do to start to get consistent production in financial services. And so about a year ago, I was coaching a handful of teams, spent an hour a week with them. It was awesome. It's phenomenal. I learned so much about team members, learned so much about what team members struggle with, what they feel is easy, and we saw results, which was really, really cool. So I want to recount a specific meeting that I remember that will kind of set the tone to this silver bullet to selling financial services at a high level. So I was coaching a team, and for the majority of the meetings, it was a group call with the agent and the whole team. And I would do it via Zoom, and that's kind of how those were set up. And they were great, right? But with one specific team, they weren't getting the results that they wanted, and I didn't really know why. And so I thought, well, why don't I just meet with each team member individually and figure out what they are struggling with, what is keeping them from taking their production to the next level. And so that meeting is what I did. I spent about 10 to 15 minutes with each team member, and I remember starting each meeting with this question. I would say, all right, team member, we can look at taking your production to the next level, figuring out, what we need to do differently in one of two ways. Okay. One, we can look at it in terms of the project. That's going to be the words that you're saying to your customers, right? The sales process that you are using, how the sales conversation is going, overcoming objections, and everything that has to do with what you're saying to your customer as far as selling the policy. Okay, so that's the project. Or we can look at it in terms of the patterns. And these are going to be anything that you feel is getting in your way, that's holding you back from having consistent activity, from taking consistent action every single day. Whether that's a lack of confidence, you feel like you don't know enough about the product to have convincing conversations, or you're just not motivated, right? Those are patterns. So, team member, where do you want to start today? Okay, so that was my question. That's how I started all of those individual meetings with this specific team. And to my surprise, guys, I went into this thinking, oh, it's got to be the sales processes, right? They want to know how to overcome some objections. That's the biggest thing with team members, right? But I was taken by surprise this specific meeting. 3 of the 4 team members told me, Colter, we need to start at the patterns. And I was taken back, guys, because like I said, I went into this thing almost predicting that it was going to be sales processes. But 3 of the 4 team members told me they felt pretty good about the sales processes, but there were patterns that were keeping them from taking action and taking action consistently. So right then and there, guys, I learned that there is more to selling life insurance. There is more to being consistent in selling life insurance, in selling disability insurance, than just great sales processes that are proven to work. Right? The sales processes are great. They're a great tool to use, but if team members aren't taking consistent action, they're not going to get results. These sales processes are useless if team members aren't stepping up to the plate and swinging the dang bat, right? And so that meeting really helped me know that there is more to selling life insurance than that. And there's more to finding consistency than just great sales processes. So since that meeting, guys, I have defined my silver bullet, what I feel like it takes to be consistently writing life insurance at a high level. And I've defined 4 specific areas that make up this silver bullet. The first area, guys, is mindset, right? And this is what I just learned with this team. Team members need to learn how to develop a winning mindset. Develop a mindset that will allow them to take consistent action day in and day out. That was something I had to learn, and something that is so crucial for us to find consistent success. And something that I realized I consistently do to set myself up for the day. There are specific things, intentional things that I do when I wake up in the morning so I can prepare myself to be in a good attitude, to when I show up to work, I'm ready to rock. I'm ready to take advantage of every opportunity with every single customer. Okay. But I learned that I needed to be intentional with my mindset, right? I learned that the days that I feel good are the days that I'm in a good attitude. And the days that I'm in a good attitude, more than likely, I've done something to prepare myself to be in a good attitude, whether that's listening to a podcast early before I go to work. Going to the gym in the morning has been something that has changed my life. I have a lot more energy and I feel like I'm in a better attitude. I take cold showers now, right? There's a handful of different things that I do to prepare myself mentally for the day, to set myself up for success in the best way possible, right? And also, as I'm going throughout my day, what am I doing to bounce back from a customer that just pisses me off or that's just not real nice, right? What do I have in place? What can I do to bounce back from those situations throughout the day so I can consistently stay in that winning mindset to take advantage of all the opportunities that I have throughout the day? And guys, in the multi-line space, we have so many opportunities. There are so many different ways that we can build value for our customers, but if we're not in that right mindset, we're not going to recognize them. And even if we do recognize them, we're not going to take action. Okay. So mindset is so important. You need to figure out how you can develop a winning mindset and do it consistently and put it into a system for yourself to where it just happens and it happens consistently. Okay. So that's the first part of my silver bullet to selling life insurance at a high level. The second part of this is activity. And I've mentioned this. I touch on this all of the time, right? You need to have consistent activity. You need to have consistent life insurance conversations with your customers if you want to sell life insurance. You need to have consistent conversations about short-term disability insurance if you want to sell short-term disability insurance, right? And it's simple, guys. It's logical, and we all understand that. But truly, the team members that are average are not having consistent conversations with their customers. The team members that are crushing it are having consistent conversation with your customers. So activity is crucial, right? And that's the second part of the silver bullet to selling life insurance at a high level. The third part, guys, is training, right? So if you know what, I'm having consistent conversations with my customers, right? And I know that because I'm logging it. Hint, team members, if you're not logging your activity, you're missing out, okay? So if you know that you're having consistent activity and you're not getting the results that you want, that may point to the fact that you need to work on your conversations. You need to train more. You need to role play. You need to sharpen that axe, right? So that when you have an opportunity, you can be convincing in your conversation, right? And so training, guys, it covers developing sales skills, whether that's your body language, your tone, controlling the conversation, right? Whatever that is, or sales processes, overcoming objections, setting yourself up to have a convincing conversation with your customer, right? Creating an offer for your customer that truly is hard for them to tell you no, right? That's training, getting better at your conversations. And so that is the third part to writing life insurance and being consistent at a high level. And the fourth part, guys, is follow-up. We are in a follow-up business. That is something I had to learn coming from the door-to-door industry. If your customer doesn't buy from you on the initial pitch to life insurance, you've got to follow up with them. If you don't, you are leaving a lot of policies on the table, on a lot of money for yourself, but also you're leaving your customer unprotected when they know they need it and you know that they need it, right? So you need to follow up and follow up with them, guys. Follow up with them until they tell you no. Be persistent, okay? And that has been foundational for me to be consistent with my production. So let's recap the 4 parts of the silver bullet to success in selling life insurance, in selling disability insurance consistently at a high level. Number 1, mindset. Number 2, activity. Number 3, training. And number 4, follow-up. Okay? So now, guys, we've identified 4 areas in which we can work. And so to end the episode, I want to share a self-accountability exercise that I use at least every month. I try to do it every week. And I've called it the 4 pillars of progress. As you would guess, each pillar is one of the principles we just talked about, one of the parts to the silver bullet to being consistent in the financial service realm. Okay? So one pillar is mindset. The next pillar is activity. Your next pillar is training. And your last one's follow-up. Okay? So with this exercise, it's very simple. I will look back over the previous month, the previous week, and I will give myself a rating on a scale of 1 to 10 in each of these areas. And I will do that simply by asking myself questions and journaling, whether I'm writing it out or I'm typing on my phone in my notes. So I will say, okay, Colter, how do you feel like your mindset was with the last month, right? With the last week? Were you consistently showing up to work in a good attitude? When you had customers throughout the day that made you mad or that weren't very nice, did you dwell on those things or were you able to bounce back quicker, right? And just write down your thoughts. Figure out, you know what? Yeah, I feel like I was consistently in a good mindset and it's because what I was doing before work, right? And identify not only where you need to work and where you need to get better, but also what worked, right? Because if you know it worked, you know what you can continue to do and predict success again, right? So ask yourself those questions. How was my mindset over the last month? How was it over the last week? And you can keep this specific to your role in the agency, but you can even broaden it to your relationships, right? And in different areas, but maybe not so much with the activity train follow-up, but the mindset piece, right? And so ask yourself questions. Figure out what wasn't working, right? Where you kind of fell short, but also what worked really well, okay? The second one, it's your activity. Colter. Did you consistently hit your conversation goal every single day, right? And I will know that because I've logged over the past week, over the past month, how many pivots I've had every single day. So I will know that if I've done that or not, right? And that's so important, guys, because if I know that I'm consistently having conversations, but I'm not getting to where I want to be, I need to work on something else. The activity's there, right? But if it's not there, then that's where you need to start. Fourth part's training. How is my conversation sounding? Do I feel confident in my conversation? Am I, helping the customer understand what the product or service will do for them? Am I helping them understand what's in it for them? That's your training. Write your thoughts out, right? The last part, am I following up with my customers? Right? Go look back at the leads you've had over the last week, over the last month, and go and look at each name. And you will start to see, I forgot to follow up with so-and-so. Or, you know what? Yeah, I haven't been following up with customers. So that's maybe where you need to focus. So that's how you do this accountability exercise. The 4 pillars of progress. Find balance with each of these areas. Because like we know, guys, there's more to being consistent in the insurance space with any line of insurance or even any sort of sales position than just great sales processes at work, right? We've got the BAT, the sales process that works, right? The follow-up process. But we've got to swing the bat. We've got to figure out how we can get ourselves to step up to the plate every single day and swing the dang bat. And if you can figure out how to do that with these 4 pillars of progress exercise, you will, without a doubt, take your life insurance production, any sort of production, to that next level. So that's what we've got for you guys today. Appreciate you listening. We'll continue to put out this content and look forward to talking to you on the next episode.